I hate having to deliver bad news. I'd rather uplift these young men, but I'm not Disney News. This is not Disney News headquarters. There's not always going to be a happy ending. Buff Nation, what up? BWB, my bandwagon buffs. What it is, what it does, and what it's going to be. It's your man's Harry Billion. Guys, I got to get through the news quickly. Make sure you smash the subscribe button. Make sure to give the thumbs up. Right here is your Coach Prime and Buff merch, my Amazon storefront. Always share the video with your friends, family, and your co-workers. I really appreciate that. Guys, and if you see something, please say something. If you want to share a story with me, something you want me to cover here that I may have missed, please send that to hottipsfortlpsports@gmail.com. That's all the business that I have. You know what time it is. Let's work. My job is to deliver the news. Unfortunately, I'm not Disney News. It's not always going to be happy news. There's not always going to be a happy ending. I want to gain your trust. I am not by far a starving YouTube creator. I don't need to do anything to get views or to get subscribers. I don't need to do clickbait. I'm trying to do this the right way. That's why you see me in the comments and I'm talking back to you guys, whether it's good or bad, we're going to have at it. Whatever energy you give me, I'm going to give it right back to you guys. But I want you guys to trust me. I want you guys to be able to trust me with information that comes through this community. If it's bad information, I'm going to handle it with care and I'm going to handle it responsibly. If I can build that trust with you guys, then you know that when I put a title up, it's not for clickbait. It's not trying to get views. It's to give you the news. I'd rather uplift these young men because I feel like these are my kids. I'm reporting on these kids. When I'm doing the roster videos, when I'm reading all of these names, when I get to read the hometown and I get to do research on these kids, I'm starting to feel like I'm close to these kids. I'm starting to feel like these are my kids. When you're a part of a program, when you're part of a community, you are responsible to that community to make sure that you uphold the values that not only Coach Prime is trying to instill in these kids, but you think about the values in the homes. I'm a parent, so I understand that the values that these parents are trying to instill in their kids. Unfortunately, things happen. And when these type of things happen, you feel really bad because at the end of the day, these are just kids. These are kids coming from high school, going to college, trying to better their lives. You see the title? That's not my title. This time, I'm just taking the title directly from the news wire. I know people are going to have issues with certain types of news. I totally understand that. My job is to make sure that I report the news as responsibly as I can. The reason why I want to give you this piece of news tonight is another example of a video that I made, and I told you guys, this is way bigger than football. When you're dealing with college students, you're dealing with a lot of issues. You're going to have to deal with a lot of issues outside of football. Some of these kids are coming out of situations that'll make your jaw drop. Some of these kids have some situations that football is literally saving their lives. Sports literally saves some of these kids' lives. This is real life. Coaches have to deal with some real issues. And when Coach Prime says, I want to recruit some dogs, there are coaches that are on record for saying, when you recruit your trenches guy, the guys that are in your trenches, when you recruit your O-line or your defensive backs, when you recruit those guys, they need to have some type of edge to them. You need to recruit a guy on that line that you want to worry about just a little bit. There's a lot of truth to that. When you're trying to get a dog that's on that line and that defense is pushing, when the game is on a line, you need to be able to look into that guy's eyes and be afraid. Unfortunately, that edge, there's a price to be paid for that edge. That guy that you have to worry about just a little bit, sometimes you may have to worry about them just a little bit more. It happens. So let me tell you what's going on with this situation, and then we'll come back and I'll give you some commentary. Let's go. I hate having to do this because this is so unfortunate because I really be rooting for these kids. It's just unfortunate that a young man has to go through this type of pain. Colorado commit Omar White charged with 3 felonies following February shootings in Georgia. The 2024 offensive lineman is facing 3 felony charges. According to the Valdosta Daily Times, 4-star Colorado offensive lineman commit Omar White was charged and taken into custody for 3 felonies in regards to 2 shootings that took place in February. The report stated that on March 3rd, detectives obtained arrest warrants for the 17-year-old White for felony aggravated assault, felony aggravated battery, and felony possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. It was also stated that White was taken into custody without incident. White is a junior defensive tackle at Valdosta who committed to Colorado on December 26. He currently ranks as the Buffs' highest rated commit for the class of 2024 and was Region 178 Defensive Player of the Year this this past season. All 3 victims of the shooting have been treated and released from the hospital, police said. All people accused but not convicted of crimes are considered innocent until proven guilty in court. It's really unfortunate that this kind of stuff happens. We got another situation in Memphis with the Memphis Grizzlies with Moran. He was on Instagram, allegedly, let me just use the right words. Moran allegedly was on Instagram and he posted with a firearm. The NBA is doing their research and he's been away from the team for some time. And as of late, he's indefinitely away from the team as they try to figure out how to deal with this situation. So a lot of these kids are coming from situations where their past is going to haunt them. Because I live in an inner city, because I live around this type of stuff, I'm still used to dealing with kids that do this type of stuff. I've done enough gangster films and gangster music videos than I can handle. When you've been in the music video industry, you're dealing with a lot. I mean, some of the times I will go on shoots. I will be in the shoot. I'm looking at all of the entourage and I'm like, my God, I just hope I get up out of here alive. There's times where I've had to get in my car and we had to do motorcycle shoots and the cops are all over the place. I've been around this all my career, so I understand this place, this environment. I understand it very well. I've worked around it for years. These kids feel like they have to prove something in the streets. These kids always feel like no matter their situation, no matter how much money they have, they feel like they always have to prove something to somebody else. I feel like these kids are competing with something that's not visible. They're competing against ghosts. These streets are nothing to play with. Yes, we're talking about Colorado football, but what we have to understand and take a step back is understand that these kids are coming out of some real situations. So when we talk about a kid having the good opportunity to a top university, it warms my heart because I'm like, that's another one. Life is being saved. That's how I always look at things because life is tough out here. When I made that video explaining that this is bigger than football, I understand where that's coming from. I'm not just on here to just be talking. I have a lot of experience with this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, our young men, the young men that we deal with on a daily basis, get caught up in this type of stuff all the time. And when they get an opportunity to get out of this environment, man, it warms my heart. And it breaks my heart when their troubles find them. You have an opportunity to better your life. You are one of the top recruits. Now you have an opportunity to take your family out of this situation, for you to get out of this situation. But these problems are going to follow these kids. So when I did that video explaining to you guys in that this is bigger than football video, and I told you guys, Coach Prime and the coaching staff have to deal with this type of real stuff all the time. Mama is sitting right there with concerns on her face. Certain things that she don't want to say. Hey, coach, his brother is in trouble with the gang. Is there anything you can do to help me? And coach is on record by saying, we're going to help them with these situations. That's why it's important that you get with the right coach, because there are some coaches out there that when you get into trouble, you become just like anybody else. You're no longer that star player that they've been rooting for, that star player that's been getting them championships, that's been giving them all that shine. When they get into this real trouble, there are coaches that will back off of them and throw them to the wolves. That's why when we speak on certain things, we understand where we're coming from, because I live this stuff. This stuff, I've seen this stuff with my own eyes. It is real out in these streets. It is not a game. And these kids, when they have an opportunity to take their parents and their families out of the hood, man, those problems don't go away. Your problems do not go away because you got accepted to a Power 5 university. Unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't go too much into this. These are allegations that are coming from a newspaper that I'm reading. I'm not adding anything to this, but I just wanted to touch on it and give something to it because I feel like our young men are in trouble. And this stuff is real. You even hear Coach Prime talk about it. He says, I got to make sure that these kids are not going around having babies all over the place. We need discipline. I got to make sure that these kids are not going out there getting baited into situations and then responding. Because these kids are on social media. These kids watch TV just like all of us. And it's going to take that one person to bait you into a situation. That one jealous person from your neighborhood. Oh, you ain't nothing. Oh, yeah, I ain't nothing. You think you all that because you on TV, huh? You think you all that. It's just going to take that one situation. And then these kids are going to respond because they still feel like their manhood is in question. So they have to respond with that tough God attitude. It's never going to end well. It never ends well at all. Man, I hate reporting this type of news. When these kids are being recruited, these are real concerns with some parents. Hey, take my child, take care of my child. Mothers and fathers, uncles and aunts, caregivers. Please take care of my child. Dion, Coach Prime, please take care of my child. This is not an easy situation. We can look at it from one angle and say, well, we want to pray for the young man and his situation, and we hope that all things work out for him. But there's also the victims. If everything that's being alleged is correct, then we have to also pray for the victims. We also have to take into consideration the lives that are being victimized. There's kids that have been traumatized now. We don't know the truth. We don't know the full situation. We weren't there. All we're doing is reading a newspaper that is reporting something from a police report. And these things are being alleged. We don't know who's right and who's wrong. My approach is not about who's right and who's wrong. All I know is it's a situation that nobody wants to be in. It's a situation that's not good for anyone involved. So whether we hear, oh, this young man was being attacked and it was self-defense, these stories are never easy to handle. There's a situation now where the parents now have to spend unnecessary money. The victims have to spend unnecessary money. If anybody's traumatized and now have to go to counseling, there's never easier angle to take. We're not just going to pray for him and his family. We're going to pray for everybody involved. Everybody's life has been affected by this situation. No matter what happened, I hear the stories from counseling sessions that my wife has to have with traumatized victims. I know the situations that families now have to deal with when these situations come about. That's why I prefer to handle situations like this with care and responsibly, because I know how to write headlines to grab attention. And I don't touch every story. But stories like this, these are the type of examples that have to be brought to the forefront. If you are a parent, these are situations that kids get into. They're going to be bullied. They're going to get into situations where they're going to be taunted. They're going to be getting into situations on social media where people are going to make fun of them. Situations where people are going to attack them, either for their popularity or for whatever reason. And we have to tell our kids, we have to be able to coach our kids and be able to tell them how real life is, how real situations are, and how fast life comes at you. You're going to have to make some very fast decisions, and those decisions can cost you everything if you're not careful on how you make those decisions. There's no easy way to look at this because you're this close to putting your family in a better financial position. You're this close to getting a college degree. You are a junior in college. Now you stand a chance to ruin all of that. We don't know the situation. Maybe you were protecting yourself. Maybe people jumped you. Maybe they were taunting you. Whatever it is, that decision to do whatever was alleged now has you in a situation. Your life is literally about to change, and it's unfortunate, and we hear it over and over again. These are learning situations for everyone involved, and there's no easy way to report any of this. Being a parent, being somebody who deals in the culture heavily, being somebody who's been around these kids all my life, who has taken video cameras and filmed these kids, whether it's shooting a music video or shooting the next gangster film, I'm always going to be responsible with this information because I know that we're dealing with more than just football. I know that I'm responsible for more than just clicks and views. I got to be responsible here because I do work in the business. I know how these things can be exploited for a few dollars. And I can easily do it, and my numbers will shoot up. But I'd rather be responsible for this information because I have a higher power that I have to answer to. So it's not just about clicks and views for me. But I want you guys to trust me that if you see a headline that is not positive, I'm going to always handle that headline with care. I have to put the headline there to address the issue. But my reporting, my perspective, it's always going to be handled with care and responsibly. If you guys can trust me with that, I promise you that anytime you get news from here, it's not going to be clickbait news. It's always going to be informative news. So with that being said, I'll leave it right there. I thank you for watching. You know, I'm Harry B. That was the Liberian Perspective. That's TLP Sports Club.